Let's go on a hike. Let's go to the mountaintops. Let's go see the mountains show off. Let's go see where angels learn to fly. Let's go.
Oh, Fancy Pants and the crew checking out from Black Bear Resort. This is the cabin that I stayed in last night. Just wanted to give you a quick view. I had to think for a minute, where was I? Anyway, a couple of nice little benches to sit on, which I actually didn't spend any time sitting, and going into the room, nice heater, even if I did have to pay extra for it, it was worth it. Nice little table, and there I slept on that bottom double bunk. It was awesome. Nice little rocking chair too. Anywho, very clean, good sleep. The bathrooms are straight across the way, which is good. And I think we're ready to turn lights out and close the door. Have some extra snacks that I need to drop off for Foursquares, and I'm gonna head on up to the breakfast place. Gonna walk out this way, and I'll check in later. So here is, I guess, the outside common area. It's a nice little fire pit right there. 2 more bathrooms and showers, which were awesome. And then the common area is inside where those lights are. I'll take you a quick peek. And there you have it. We'll just peek in the window. That way I don't have to open the door. I did not spend any time here either because this was just kind of a quick in and out stay, which is fine. And I need to drop off these cookies over at the bunk room where Foursquare is. I don't think they're up yet, so I'm just gonna leave them outside here on the hiker box. Oh, there she is. So in this picture, left to right, we have Half Pint, her husband Outlier, Squaretail, Foursquares, Rev, and then, of course, me, Fancy Pants. We all enjoyed a nice breakfast, but there was a little bit of sadness involved. Foursquares has to get off trail because she fell and had to be rescued off the mountain yesterday. And then Rev is going back home to California for 2 weeks for his grandson's high school graduation. So it'll be a while before we see each other again. Fancy Pants and the crew on day 131, my official beginning of the day video. I just got a shuttle ride in a golf cart, the 0.4 miles back to the trailhead. God forbid should we walk an extra 4/10 of a mile. I mean, really, that's a lot. And I'm back at the spot where Riff Raff is doing trail magic, and I will continue northbound. Have about 8 miles planned today. It's officially called the Dennis Cove Trailhead, but let me turn the camera around. And so from yesterday's video, there's the Riff Raff sign, and the trail continues this way. So we have a big, big climb. I think it's Pond Mountain or something. Would be a couple thousand feet. But there's also a really cool waterfall, oh my gosh, waterfall that we will see today. Laurel Falls, and here is the sign. Laurel Fork Shelter temporarily closed. Yeah, we knew that, but we don't need to worry about that because we're not stopping at the shelter. And the trail continues on this way. So nice and flat here. I'll probably enjoy it while I can, and we will check in later. Well, I know this is not going to last all day long, but we're walking along a nice flat section of trail, entering the Pond Mountain Wilderness, and I don't know what river that is. I think it's Laurel Fork is what it's called, but I don't know if that is the river that feeds into the falls or not, but anywho, we're just moseying along right now. Check in later. All right, let's see what there is to see going across this bridge. I just checked on my map, and I'm not actually going to hit the climb for about 2 miles, which I'm a little bit surprised, but is what it is. Big rock face right there. Yikes. Anyways, let's see what there is to see going across here. I don't know what it is about going across bridges now. It like literally makes me dizzy, and it's not even that high up. And the other side. Pretty. So I'm gonna enjoy this flat section while I can, because it won't be long before we be climbing. All right, check in later. So these bushes that I think are azaleas keep popping up, but my phone continues to identify them as rhododendrons. So obviously there are different kinds of rhododendrons. Some of them have really big leaves, and some of them have smaller leaves like the ones I'm seeing right now. So kind of a cool passageway that we're walking through and continuing on. So this is a look at what I'm going down right now. A little bit treacherous. I can see falls off in the distance. We're very, very close to it, but I really need to focus on getting down safely, so I'll check in when we get to the falls. She is Laurel Fork Falls. Laurel Falls. Beautiful. Beautiful spot. If the weather were a little bit warmer, I'd consider going in. Laurel Fork Falls is the actual name. Moving away from Laurel Falls, the trail's kind of interesting. It looks like it goes right alongside the river and involves kind of crawling around that rock face. This will be fun. Won't be able to film this, sorry guys. So I came around that corner right there, and as you can see if I can turn the camera around. It's a little bit wobbly, but there we go. It's really pretty. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And we're crawling along this section right here. Needless to say, not setting any speed records on this part. And happen to come along some wild bleeding heart as I'm clutching to the side of the rock face. All right, what you see here is definitely a rhododendron bush blooming. Kind of one of the first ones that I've seen in full bloom. Interesting. Very, very pretty. see if I can zoom in on one of the blooms. So I had texted my daughter trying to figure out if the flowers I saw earlier were azaleas or rhododendrons, and she told me something interesting. She knows a lot about plants and stuff, and she said that typically azaleas have 5 stamen and the rhododendrons have at least 10, but there are hybrids that have some in between, so it is really hard to tell. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. So there is a sign right there in a blue blaze leading to Laurel Fork Shelter, which unfortunately was, I can't remember if it was a fire or the hurricane, but anyways, it is no longer usable. Alrighty, continuing on. Every time I tell myself no more flower pictures for at least a mile, I come upon something like this, and I have to stop and take a picture or a video. These are definitely rhododendrons. I found that out. And if you count the number of stamen, they had 10. Interesting. Thanks for that tip, Kristen. Climbing these really cool steps. Oh, I just dropped one of my poles, darn. All right, let's try that again. These really cool steps to a bridge going over the Laurel Fork River. Really neat. And downstream. And before too long, we're going to be starting our uphill climb. So this may be it for the day. I don't know. We'll see. And we go up and over another bridge. Wowzy. These bridges kind of remind me of Virginia, because I remember a lot of bridges in the Virginia section. And over we go. Got some hikers coming up behind me, so. Get around to the other side. And we are about to start the climb. I may be listening to some music in a little while. Goodbye to the nice flat cruisy trail. See you down trail. I have to show y'all this. You might not think it's much of anything, but this is Japanese honeysuckle, and I could smell it before I even got to it. It's got a very, very strong, sweet smell, but it's really, really nice. First time I've seen this on trail. Pretty cool. I think it's safe to say now that the mountain laurels are in full bloom. I remember coming out of Hot Springs and seeing the first bloomed mountain laurel. That was a while ago, but this one right here is full of flowers. I'm going to try to zoom in. So pretty. All right, continuing on uphill. Once again, kind of had my head to the ground, just trying to grind out this uphill. I happened to stop and look up, and there is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these flame azalea bushes. I'll pan around. So there's 2 right here, and then down there I see 3, 4, and then a 5th one right here. So pretty. It's like they light up the woods. Awesome. So I just checked, and good news is there's only 284 more feet to climb. The other thing is I'm challenging myself to see if I can film to the top of the next uphill that you see right in front of me. So here goes nothing. I found what works really good. Here comes a fancy pants Pearl, is slowing down enough so that I can keep my breath while I'm going uphill. Whoops, instead of trying to take big steps and do it quickly, it seems to work better for me, and perhaps other older women, I don't know, to take short steps slowly, and eventually you'll get there, like we just did. And my arm didn't even get that tired. Yay for fancy pants. Woo! All right, check in later. Fancy pants with a quick check-in. I have less than 100 feet left to climb to reach the highest elevation for today, but walking through a section that obviously experienced a lot of hurricane damage. And there's the trail that I just came from, but I mean, trees down everywhere. So it's been a while since I've given a shout out to the trail maintainers, but I think it's time to give another one, because clearing this hot mess must have been nothing short of a miracle, really. Anyway, the trail itself was clear. It may look like chaos around it, but anyway, I'll check in a little bit. So judging by the number of rings there are on this tree that I just climbed over that had been knocked down, I'm assuming by the hurricane, you can kind of see there. I'm thinking this tree was at least 80 years old. It's massive. One of the bigger blowdowns that I've seen. But there was a nice section cut out in the middle, so it wasn't too hard to get over. But man, oh man, it's almost like it was a double tree because it's split down there. But anywho, interesting. I think it may have been a while since I showed y'all how I collect water, but this is a good example. You see a lot of these piped springs coming out of the ground, and so that is where the water I got came from. I put it in this, it's called a Knock bag, and that's just representative of the brand. It's a 2-liter bag, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this bag and attach my filter to the part on the bottom, and I'll show you how that's done in a minute. And there you have it. So the water filter, the dirty water is going in through the filter down into my smart water bottle. Now I could squeeze it and it might go a little bit faster. In fact, I need to unscrew it because sometimes it builds up a vacuum and it stops flowing. So let me do that. So finally, on the descent, which is nice, that is a view of Watauga Lake. I don't know if that's how you say it. So we have about two miles, a little less than 2 miles to go to get to the hostel. And supposedly the hostel is within walking distance of the AT. So as in, it's like very, very close. But what a pretty spot down there. Oops, camera wasn't upright. Anyway, check in later when we get there. All right, Fancy Pants and the crew have made it to Boots Off Hostel. And hopefully it's not too far to walk. Anyway, heading up here. Oh, it looks like it is uphill a little bit. I'm gonna have to put my camera down because I don't think I can walk all that way and talk at the same time. All right, I'll check in when I get there.